start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Number 4, approval amendment of meeting agenda item. They are as stated, no changes.
I move that we approve the agenda for September 12th, 2018 as presented. Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the meeting agenda as presented. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2018 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of August 22nd, 2018 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. 6, correspondence.
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, 7, public comment.
I have one thing, that's not why I'm here, but just one thing to kind of run by you guys as you guys start thinking about calendar next year. It just about wiped me out this year, and so to go to, Wednesday start maybe, if there's any way we could look at how we could reconfigure moving that orientation day to Wednesday, if we could do late start. I had one day where I was at the fair till 1:30 cutting checks for the 4-H and FFA kids in the morning, and I know, those kids are just exhausted, so.
I still need to talk to you.
Just something to keep in mind.
I tried to catch up with you too about candidates and interviews.
Well, we have all the 7th graders, the elementary school. It's really
They
just.
actually go to school?
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's really the 8th through 12th that have open house in the afternoon, but I think all the other grade levels. So just something to keep in
I'd be
mind.
very excited to entertain that idea next year.
Well, I believe in our spring work session or somewhere around there, we agreed to have a very comprehensive look at our upcoming schedule for next year.
I think like for 7th grade, the orientation is great. It makes it a safe start for them, but if there's just some way we can look at if we can juggle the calendar a little bit, especially next year. I know with the 100th year, a lot of people I think will have family in town. It'll be a big event, and I don't know, maybe I'm just getting too old and I'm not bouncing back after doing the sale like I used to, but it was rough.
So again, I think there's gonna be a pretty comprehensive look at the calendars for next year, which is gonna involve quite a few people and timely discussion. Okay, any other public comment? On to number 8, reports.
Smooth move, you do.
Sorry, I apologize.
It's my fault. It's not Lane's fault. It's my fault.
I was hitting Lane.
Total chaos
They
coming
didn't
in.
know that we were in meeting.
I'll go first because I was the schmuck, okay? Sorry.
So sorry. Didn't know you started.
Here you changed and everything.
You didn't always say the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry.
We did. We did. You missed it.
I apologize. Should have been back in here. Sorry to take Mr. Stratton's time taken away from the board meeting. This is the smoothest start of school that I've ever had, and I know that sounds crazy after yesterday, but it really has been pretty smooth. Yeah, it's up until right now. We have 348 kiddos at Fremont Hay, and there's 42 in the kindergarten, 51 in first grade, 54 in second grade, 40 in third grade, 56 in fourth grade, 51 in fifth grade, and 54 in sixth grade. Well, I can just copy this for you if you'd like. I brought it for you.
So are those numbers up or stable?
They're stable, but I know, like, I've got 3 families that have not registered their kids and are gone for the first 2 weeks of school vacationing. So I know that I have a few more coming. I have 2 more coming next week. So I think I'm down with this number just a little bit. They're coming. So, because until they register, they're not on these rolls, and we're still struggling to get folks to register their kids. So I think that I'll be up just a tad. And then at Union, they're real stable at 51. Kindergarten has 17, kindergarten first has 17 with 7 in kindergarten and 10 in first grade. And then second grade has 11, third grade has 6, fourth grade has 4, so that's 20 kids in that 3-grade classroom, so it's full. And then fifth and sixth struggles a little bit, and they're only at 13 kids with another one going out there, I think. So 10 in fifth grade and 3 in sixth grade.
What's the total meeting number again?
51.
Is that the highest we've had?
53 is the highest we've had. We were at 53 for a little while last year. And we do have a waiting list for some kiddos in those lower grades out there in that second, third, fourth, but it's really a pretty full classroom. We're finishing up dental screenings tomorrow with Advantage Dental, and we've been doing them at conference time. We're trying it in the school again, and looking at the consents that came back today. We're working with some new people. About 25 to 30% of our population will get some kind of dental services out of this, which means that those are kids that may not have been getting those dental services. So, I've hired 2 paraprofessionals in the last week, one to backfill a resignation, and then when I wasn't able to hire a secondary position, we're going to provide some support in those classrooms with some paraprofessionals. So 2 of those folks are hired and will start on Monday.
Who are those folks?
Rebecca Gertis and Sharon Grogan. We're in the middle of the EasyCBM testing, which is our progress monitoring tool that we do fall, winter, and spring. We started Monday. We would really like to push to be done Friday, which means that the following Wednesday next week we would sit down and do our data team meetings, which means that we look at all those kids' scores, we split them up into ability groups, and then we get those services going between Title I and EL and SPED and get moving on those things. And then picture days are October 3rd. We have K through 5. And then 6th grade is on the 4th, and Union is on the 4th as well. And we've just got lots going on. The grounds look great, and we've got a few new kids, not a lot, but we're just rolling really well. Teachers have worked really hard to make sure that everything was up and going. Custodians had the buildings looking great, and I just very much appreciate how hard everybody worked this summer to make a smooth start and make everything look good. You guys have questions?
I'm just curious, on the Fremont Hayes split, the third going up,
Mm-hmm.
is it about even numbers? Like even here and even across the street?
In the 2 buildings,
Mm-hmm.
it's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's not. But capacity-wise,
I know why we did it. I was just kind of curious if it split evenly or anything.
No, because I've only got 3 grade levels over at Fremont, and there's always one oddball, and then I've got 4 over at Hayes, so it is a little off. But again, I apologize to the board that I was talking. I didn't realize.
So I know that the paving has gotten done,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out really nice. I have yet to get by there.
I wanted to talk about those projects that I know Janet talks about in the facilities, and so I didn't want to steal her thunder. We love our new asphalt. It's wonderful. We love our new reading garden. We love all those facilities projects that are open. And then we have a new sound system too in the ABU gym that we paid for out of box tops, all those little those little box tops on the cakewalks. Years and years worth from Mr. Cahill days on up they saved. And Evan got it installed, and we're good to go. And so that will just make some of those assemblies, but also some of our folks that we bring in to perform, like with the Lakeview Arts Council, that's going to make a big difference. So,
We should probably take a stroll over there on the calendar date. I haven't seen the reading garden. I mean, I've seen the asphalt, but
happy to host you guys whenever you'd like.
I
Or
just
do
know-
a tour before and come here, whatever you want to do.
I have not seen the asphalt in the rear, but in the front, a little circle that looks a lot
Very
better
nice.
too. Not so much of a curve.
We're trying to be very diligent in blocking that off with cones because we're having people drive through there and drive up on the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've just blocked all of it off, and I've just asked custodians to leave it all in place, and then maintenance is going to have to move it when they want to come through. And we put a temporary rope up again because we really are struggling with soccer in the back, driving back there. But we'll get it under control.
Oh, that right off to the left of the ropes, is that pole sticking out of the rocks and the concrete. Is that going anywhere soon? Beat the monkeys down off of it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Susan.
Strutting. Sorry, about to start there. Wow.
We'll let you use the new gate card.
Okay. So, 65 students in 7th grade, 52 in 8th, 57 in 9th, 53 in 10th, 57 in 11th, and then 75 seniors is the
That's the
enrollment.
big one.
That's our big
Yes.
class. And echo Mrs. Warner, for me was a very smooth start to the year as far as getting kids in and into their classrooms. Hats off to the ladies that worked really, really hard. Chalice Young came down and helped. Mrs. Thompson, Deanna, Ms. Harris, Brandy, Ms. Bilgrana, Emma, and whoever else was there those days helping with the registration. Went really, really smooth. The line out in front of Brandy's office for kids changing or wanting to be in another class was non-existent. By Friday this week here, just everybody's going about their route. Little change with our Spanish. Kids are not liking it, going online. We had a representative from the company here Monday, that worked with each class and helped them. We ordered new headphones and speakers for them, so hopefully we can get that going and in that class fulfill their needs. Had some few drops out of that, but we'll be all right. With the changes in special ed department and the step up program, we're a tad bit behind on getting the Odyssey going because of the training, but we have training coming tomorrow morning. And so we'll get the credit retrieval kiddos going and the kiddos online going over there in the step up program. They're doing some PE and some health, and we're going to start some sewing projects, but we can't get enough of the sewing machines up and running, so I don't know where they're going to go to get a family consumer science elective credit. Let's see what else is happening. I think I've been in every classroom at least once, seen some good stuff, excited. We had an assembly the other day put on by the student body, and that went real well. And I wanted to read this note to tell you kind of the type of people that we have in our school district. This note's from a parent who moved here, I think over the summer, and brought their 8th grade son with them, and he was mad. Didn't want to move here, didn't want to change schools, had a little stuff going on at home too, so everything involved that whole, I call it disadvantaged youth, and he just did not want to come. Came to registration, but the mom couldn't get him out of the house for 2 days. And this is a note, email from mom. I want to sincerely thank you for your help, support, communication, for making adjustment easier for my son. Now that he has adjusted, be prepared to see him have these talks too much in class talks. She's saying, I'm getting ready for it to get the opposite, that your son's talking too much in class, and there's a big smiley face emoji. My son actually told us yesterday that he likes it here, which is a huge change since we moved here 4 months ago. I really couldn't be happier to see my son smiling now every day and be silly and goofy with us, even after taking his phone and Xbox, which he still doesn't have. We're just so extremely grateful and really looking forward to raising our family in Lakeview. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Very good.
I left the names out. The young man didn't want to come. Brandy and I rallied with Mom, worked with Mom. We had to work with Mom before we could even work with the kid. Got the student one day, just sat in Brandy's office most of the day. Then class here, then class there. A couple teachers sent him personal emails. We hooked up with the school email. Teachers sent him emails. And I think Friday, can't remember, Friday, a couple classes. Monday, hooked him up, got him with the right group of peers, and he's coming to class. And yes, I'm pretty sure he'll be in Mr. Rose's office for talking too much. Normal boy back. That's just a testimony to our students, our teachers and staff, and Brandy, and the ability to work and make those connections. And I would also say a reason why I moved here too, because of the great people. So great start to the year. Great job by everybody involved. And here, Mr. Rose is running a soccer game. So I have here, and he did a better job. I coached him up and then I didn't do it myself. He made copies for everyone on our participation numbers. 37, I think it's up to 38 now in football. 7 varsity volleyball, 7 JV volleyball, 15 in boys soccer, 16 in girls soccer. Cross country is 25, and then the middle school with 5. I'd say sports has gotten off to a really good start, and Mr. Rose and I are learning things as we go and finding things, getting set up for games and concession stands. I think every team's traveled now, and we've had to talk to a few parents about the travel rules and signing slips. But I think I'm impressed with Mr. Rose and working with him. He's a hard worker, and maintenance staff helping us set up fields. Mr. Louis helped the last couple times too, painting and stuff like that. Soccer board's lit up for the soccer game. Home football game on Friday, home volleyball game match, tournament on Saturday. Tomorrow's volleyball games were canceled with Candyville.
Oh, they were?
It's canceled.
Yeah, Candyville canceled. Candyville's really, really small school. They're mainly foreign exchange students, and they just couldn't see it worth their time to drive over for just a JV match. They don't have a full squad, and most of the players are foreign exchange students, first-time volleyball players.
So that was interesting, I just did some quick math, but it looks like we have about 45% participation in our athletics.
Yeah, I'd like more, but it's good. I'd definitely like more. I think if we were to dig a little deeper, and if we were to grab, the band and choir and the FFA students and ASB students, one thing I noticed missing in here is cheerleading. We do have a cheerleading squad up and running. I don't know when they're going to perform first, so they're going to wait till winter sports. So the number is up there if we took all of our extracurricular and activity kids. But we still have a lot of students who, after school, are not doing anything. I don't have a problem if a kiddo has a job, or is going home and helping mom or dad with babysitting duties, but we have a lot of them that are just not doing anything. That'll be our goal, is to up those numbers as we move forward, being Mr. Rose, and do some, just helping coaches recruit and talk to kids and find that niche for them.
I had an issue with that when my kids were in second grade, not having a job.
And one other thing I'd like to
It's hardcore.
one other thing I'd like to expand on is me, or Mr. Rose, Ms. Harris, and myself. We have met with probation in 2 formal meetings, and we've met with mental health in the hospital. And that's one thing that also I really enjoy about with Lakeview School District is our relationships that we've had with the community services. That was not reciprocated in the 2 Wyoming districts, and something I truly miss. And to be able to be on a first name basis, speed dial with probation and mental health today, and we're putting some stuff in place with them. That's really, really helpful. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks, Lee. Just on to number 9, old business.
Can I give a facility report?
Oh.
Would be all right with you?
First here for the report.
I mean, I don't have a lot left.
Give
Everybody
you-
else is taking over. But I have a few things in my hand.
All right, excuse me, 8.2, facility.
Okay, well, so as you guys see coming in, the soccer field scoreboard is up and lit up. The only thing left was the very top deal. It either says Lakeview Honkers or Honkers, or Lakeview with Honker, something along those lines. I can't remember what it looks like, but my welder got hit in the eye with a U-joint when we were putting this up, so it kind of had to derail that so I can get his eye fixed. So that's scheduled to go next week, hopefully, to get that up, and then it'll be done and over with. So it is functional, it is working, and so that's all good, so we can get that off of our plate. The reading garden, I think the only thing you're waiting for is a dirt delivery for your cots. Is all that I have.
And a board, but we're good.
Oh, a little seating bench, yes.
And then our teaching board, but we got it all lined out, we're good to go.
Okay, so that one's almost wrapped up also. 80 asphalt is pretty well wrapped up as far as the asphalt is down. We did have RMC come back in, we had a drain issue there in the front. It wasn't sloped quite right, it was gonna run back into the school. I might have mentioned that earlier, they did come back and fix that for us. The basketball hoops, on agenda for next week to get those back up. We do have a temporary fence. We've been wavering back and forth as to where to put the gate, so one at one place, rest of us want another place, you know. So we'll find the perfect place for that and get that squared away, so.
That's at 80 hay
Yeah,
in the back in there.
yeah, as you go in the back, but we gotta be careful because of the deliveries that go in back there, you know, so. We're just working through those put back together, moments there. The CTE revitalization grant is progressing quite well. The electrical, Carol Tracy's been in there doing quite a bit of work, in there. They've left welders up for operational. The booths are on order. They were a 6 to 8 week, time frame before they got here. And I think we're about halfway through that. We do have an ODE visit, on the 1st of October, but they've already been here once, but it's kind of nice, they actually come down, have a team put together, they come down, visit, check on status, give us ideas if we're hung up somewhere or anything like that. So they've been really good support for the CTE projects.
So those kids that are in welding right now, there are a couple stations that they can actually still weld in.
We left them functional, I think, I wanted to say 3 or 4, is that right, Lee?
I can't remember the total number, but
Maybe even
I think it was 4 to 6. It was
Yeah,
4 to
maybe
6 was the number.
4 to 6 is what we, and I spoke with Carl this morning and left them functional. The idea is that once the booths get here, because the welders are here, they're sitting in the shop, but once the booths get here, it's kind of Friday afternoon, slide the rest of everything out, slide them in, hook them up, bam, we're back in business again by Monday morning. So it's the least amount of disruption to the
Okay,
classroom.
so that's good. I was just worried that those kids that had welding this semester were,
No,
Maybe not
no, we
doing
worked it
anything.
out between all the parties that were involved as far as booths and welders and teachers and all of that kind of stuff, so we had something still functional at the same time, and life still went on for them. So that's that piece. The pivot, we got a little hung up with fair. Time out. But Christy's class, the goal right now is to make some supports for the main line to go across the creek. And then we did need 2 connectors, one from the pivot itself and one from the pump. And the guy that we bought the pivot from is actually finding me those connectors to put those in. And then once we have the main line across the creek and those 2 connectors, electrical can come in and run across, and we can get it fired up there. So, so that's just things on order, waiting for those things to happen. And then of course, one of Christy's class, putting those supports across. The DMS bathroom, right at the moment, we're waiting on the permits to be issued. So we're just kind of in limbo. Probably by the end of the month, 1st of October, they should be in there to do that. With the caveat that we need to work around KCC at that point in time. Plus our SEPT program will be in that building. So Mr. Thornton's very well aware of that, working out the issues as to when to be in there, when to make noise, when to not make noise, things like that. So all of that's getting placed. The tech grant that you guys got reported on, the last board meeting, I've had conversation with Scott, the gentleman that was here presenting. I put him off till October just so I can get through my audit this month, to start having conversations as to what is next, how to do next, where do we go, you know, how do we make those things happen, that sort of thing. So that's progressing. I just had to put him off a little bit so I could get through an audit, which I have about 3 that I got luckily drawn for. So anyway, so those are those things for right at the moment. Otherwise, I think that's all. I don't think I've missed anything. Any questions? Okay.
Are you sure with it? Before we move
No,
on?
but, no. You can proceed, Mr. Davidson.
Number 9, old business. Thank you, Jen.
I have none, Mr. Chair.
Okay, number 10, new business.
Okay, so.
10.1.
So we have some more Measure 98 funds that are partially carryover from last year, but then there's a whole new funding stream this year. So again, it's hitting into the Fred Smith world, and he has a quote in here for Frontier trailer sales. It's $55.95. It's over 5,000, needing board permission, and basically we can use it as a storage, but then also he can go take students to job sites and get them practical experience while packing the tools or the stuff required for that particular job. So I'm just asking for that permission on that trailer purchase.
I move to approve the Measure 98 trailer purchase as presented.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve the Measure 98 trailer purchase as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes. 10.2, BLM grant purchase.
So originally I was gonna do the presentation on that, but Danae was able to come this evening. This is more so her baby than mine. So I'm gonna turn the floor to Danae.
So, last year when we worked with Grace Haskins, who's kind of set up the grant, it's split basically between Christy and I. Christy's gonna do some native grass seed development on the ag farm. And then, they had some money allocated, we could do a greenhouse and some raised beds and look at native propagation, in the greenhouse. So, we were hoping to have this done a little bit sooner, but it took longer to get all the quotes, so we did go through 3 different companies to get the quotes. And the one we liked the best was through the Greenhouse Mega Store. And they're also the company we purchased our cold frame from, and would be similar in a lot of ways to the greenhouse we have out there. So it would have an evaporative cooling system in it, the heater, so it's a whole package, and it has a double wall polycarbonate, so it should be pretty efficient for heating too. The other grants, our other greenhouses had either just like a film, which really for our area wasn't gonna be holding up very well, so this one seemed like the best bang for our buck, so.
So are we gonna put it right over here by the existing?
Yeah, so Joe and I have kind of looked, we're also hoping to put in a little orchard, some fruit trees, and have some raised bed areas. Grace would like us maybe to do some beds where we can have some native seed trials and things like that. So we're gonna kind of leave an open space between the 2 greenhouses. So it'll be this greenhouse, open space for some of that outside growing, and then the other greenhouse. And so he's working on the materials for chain link fence that would be tall enough to keep the deer out for that. That's our big, so we kind of looked at that this summer, and he's been working on that for me.
So I know several years ago there was a big conversation about trying to move these greenhouses.
Yeah.
Are we okay with where they're at now?
Well, we talked about that, I think there was a potential for a grant. And when we looked at moving this greenhouse, it would be almost more cost effective to have put in another greenhouse. Just get a brand new greenhouse, then move
Right,
it.
that's why I asked, if you're gonna
Yeah,
get
that
another
was-
greenhouse, are
That
we
was the case.
happy with putting it here, or do we want
I
to
mean, it
locate
would-
where you
It would
wanted a greenhouse?
be great to have it closer, because the travel time, especially in the winter, is a pain, but I think it would be just as big of a hassle to have the 2 greenhouses split apart. Because you're still gonna have to come and take care of the stuff in this one, and if we have, we have the room for growing space outside here. So that's kind of the big deal. It's like it either all needs to go up there, or we just kind of stay in place, I think, instead of splitting it.
The other big concern about moving this one
Mhm.
is it'll break if you move it. It's older.
Brittle.
Yeah,
I
more
mean,
so.
Yeah, we have a few little holes in the roof from some stray baseballs last year.
I'm fine with either way, I just thought I'd ask. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know there
That's a
was
good
a
question.
lot of talk to move it, and if we're getting a new one,
And that's gonna be,
why not
this,
pop it down
this
for
coming
one?
spring is gonna be 20 years old.
Asphalt area between.
Really, that one right
Yeah.
there?
The two buildings.
We put it up in 99.
Missed it by a year.
I mean, it would be fantastic because you could say to the kids, okay, we're doing classroom stuff and now we just need to go out and water. You know, it would be nice to just step out the door, but to have the two greenhouses not together, it's like someone's still gonna have to come down and take care of this, and so logistically, I don't know how great that would be.
What is the lifespan for this one? What's the expected lifespan?
I know.
Well, I mean, it's not moving it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're in really good shape with it. I mean, we try to take pretty good care of it.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, there may be a few
Patching holes.
sections, yeah, over time that we have to replace some polycarb on, but really, I think it's in pretty good shape.
yeah.
We get by and see her spring plant sale last year. Absolutely amazing. This is
All the 3 years
Loaded.
prior I did, last year I did.
She almost grew herself out of the
We
greenhouse.
do.
this year.
I always like I'm cutting back, and then it's like, where do we put this stuff, so. And I know
And the
that,
graduation stuff. Because she keeps it until graduation, so it's not gonna freeze at my house.
right. And I have, right now, we're rolling out advanced horticulture. We have an advanced horticulture class, and that group of kids is really, they're excited to try some hydroponics, because we did order the hydroponics system last year with some of our Measure 98 funds, and they're really interested in grafting and doing some different types of propagation that way, so. I think they'll be a good crew to get going with some of our ideas this year.
How many do you have?
This year with the advanced hort, I think there's 7, because we're gonna do this year it's an every other year. I'm hoping I can twist Mr. Stratton's, keep twisting his ear to have a regular beginning horticulture class and an advanced horticulture.
So between both of them this year you have 7.
Yeah, because we just have the one period of advanced kids, so these are all kids that had to take it previously.
Well, is there opportunity at some point with these advanced kids, depending upon, you know, how you tailor your program, that it can roll into a science credit?
That could be something we look at. And they, right now, because we did articulate with Clackamas Community College too, and we have KCC, so now they can, for horticulture, there's 3 credits, I think they're getting, 3 classes they can get, and then floral design also got articulated last year.
Well, I just know I have a customer that grows mint over in Maryland, Tule Lake, and they've used the FFA program in Tule Lake, and they've gone in and done some of the splicing and working with the different generations of plant with those mint. And so, I mean, it gets pretty high on
It
the
does,
science
can get
side
pretty
when you
high
venture down some of those paths.
That's something I could sure look at.
When I was an ag teacher, ODE used to like a
4 years.
accumulation of ag for science credit, but I think they backed off from that. I don't
Well,
think
and
they
that's
allow
the
science
same
credit
thing
for
that
ag
I've been asking Christy as far as with like the equine science and vet science, as you get more advanced in your second or third year potentially with some of these kids, if, you know, you can find the class space and time to make that work.
I think that question from the resident expert, Lonnie.
So we checked into this because our teachers have to be licensed in science. And so I know, I mean, Christy and I have had that conversation too, because here, you know, she's a veterinarian, but she's not licensed in science, so we can't get credit. So the state of Oregon right now, the last few years, has said not unless they have a science endorsement, so. So we'd have to look at that with our science teachers that we have hired, or teachers that don't have the science endorsement would have to look at getting that. Now, dual credit might be different. You might be able to give dual credit, but we wouldn't be able to give high school credit under
You
science.
got no
We did-
child left behind to thank for all that.
Yeah. And they're not changing it. They said they're still gonna go with that, even though they,
Strike programs.
well, they didn't say that, Lane,
Well,
but
I did.
they don't see that.
I feel like you have a doctor teaching it, there's a fair amount of
Right,
science
right.
involved in
I'd
it.
say so, yeah.
Well, and that's what I said to Chrissy, I said, this isn't money putting that into, to play. So, cause it does make sense for that equine science. We really looked at that.
Well, I think that's a good conversation. I think it's, you hear me say it all the time. When we have those conversations with our representation in the big house in Salem, is that we use those examples of what some of these rules do for us.
Yeah, you know, being an old CTE guy, it just makes sense. It's a shame that they brought us in because of No Child Left Behind. They want to advance CTE, and I see this as a vehicle to do it. And, you know, I won't be afraid to express my opinion to Cliff Vance and Warner Reschke and Dennis Lifton. You know, I will share that with them, you know, that feeling.
So we've kind of got off a little bit, but we're still on
We did.
10.2.
Great
I
conversation.
move to approve the BLM greenhouse purchase as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the BLM greenhouse purchase as presented. Any discussion? Good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passed. 10.3, cancellation of the September 26, 2018 work session.
Ms. Nelson's informed me that we have the auditors in here all week, and they completely occupy this room, and in addition to that, some things, it was totally built on your calendar as a work session. And some things such as the technical assistance thing that's still, you know, a little bit on hold before we sit down with you and discuss that with you. I was gonna go through district goals, and then I can hold off on that too. We had a really good discussion last May on that, so I don't really feel quite the need to really sit down and go through that with you again. So anyway, anything to add to that?
No, not that I don't want to all have work sessions.
I feel like my volunteer opportunity has been cheated.
They are.
So anyway, long and short of it is, I
Why?
recommend to the board cancellation of the September 26th work session.
I move to approve the cancellation of the September 26, 2018 work session as presented.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to cancel the September 26, 2018 work session. All those in favor? Aye. See, it had to vote.
Yeah,
I did it. I couldn't derail the whole thing.
People are going on the 26th.
So it's been moved, seconded, and approved. So we are to number 11, consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as is presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the motion passed. Number 12, announcements.
12.1, meet and greet of the new staff will be at your October 10th meeting, 5 o'clock, correct, Andy?
Uh-huh.
And we'll have them here with some food and everything else, and we'll get to meet the new certified and classified staff members, which there are quite a few of them. I'm going to add one here, sorry Tandy, 12.2, OSBA regional meeting in Paisley. Initially it was going to be October 6th, they changed it to October 17th. It's going to be the traditional format, where they'll have dinner at 6 o'clock at the Paisley Community Center. Members of the OSBA will be down to talk to you about the things related to the legislation ahead, what's going on in the state. It's always a very informative meeting. So if you want to attend that, I will take the expedition or some form of transportation, and we'll leave here at 5 o'clock. Just let Tandy know about a week in advance so we can get a meal count into the ESD so they know. And that's it.
We are on to number 13, next board meeting agenda items.
Well, I think we'll have a number of reports. We're going to try to do the thing of bringing kids back again to give you some reports as far as what's going on in school. a prior report on the status of, I'll give you a quick report on school district goals and where I'm heading with that. I'm going to have some committee meetings with staff as far as rolling out the district goals. Piedmont A one meeting, LHSD MSU meeting, and then do the status report on what the goals are. I think probably we'll have a student from ASB here to give that report, and then we're going to have Mr. Rose give an athletic director's report, and that's kind of it. As far as hard business items right now, I don't really have any just yet, but we'll keep you informed.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I wasn't on to number 14 yet.
Well, you're close enough. Hurry up.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor? Aye.
Thanks, Board.